welcome, and this is DJ.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Shelby.
That's what everybody calls me.
DJ. Should they call you something different?
Well, my name's Dustin, but they just call me DJ because of my middle name.
All right. Well,
So that works
Dustin
out.
slash DJ. Nice to have you here.
Yes, glad to be here.
Great. We are. Let's see, 30 minutes, about 15 minutes into the second round here at the first table. And were you playing in the last round?
No, I didn't play in this one. I just
Spectator.
did the helped with the learn to play a little bit. Been playing on Tuesdays. I love the game. So much fun. It's such a simple game to be so complex at the same time. It's just so much strategy behind it because there's already different, like me and Anthony had talked about, there's already different strategies. You've got your siphon build, your espresso trains, or in the single player ones like I like to do is try to hoard all the spill a drink cards, and then right there at the end you just bam, back to back. And
That aggressive
if you've got
offense
somebody
there.
that's got an espresso train going, because it's like you said, you can just craft a single espresso. That's 1 point. Well, if you just keep building espressos, I mean, by the end, okay, cool, I've got all the main drinks, but if you got 10, 15 espressos built, that's 15 points.
It's a nice little wall. We've been calling that the
Oh, yeah.
Express Train is what I've heard. Yeah, it's a good little catchy strategy title.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just curious, compared to this round and the next round, it seems so unique, kind of like what you were saying, player to player.
Oh, yeah,
How
because
you can really
everybody's
make it your
got
own.
everybody's got a different way of doing things. A lot of people like to adapt to what another person, like mine is just kind of, I adapt a little bit, but generally I like to stick to I try to pull at least one or two of the spill a drink cards. I like to have them just kind of like Anthony had said the last round, just kind of sandbag them. Hold on to them because you never know when you might need one, or like when we did one of the learn to plays, had I held on to one of mine instead of using it so early, I could have prevented my latte from getting spilled.
Probably didn't
But
make
it
that
didn't.
mistake a second time.
Yeah, I didn't on that one. I used it too early. Got a little gung ho with it. And, burned it before I should have, and then bam, you're out.
It could be a heady card. I know when I first pull one out, I'm like jonesing to use it.
Oh yeah,
but
because
then-
especially when someone pulls the big drinks, one lattes. I mean, that's 4 points. Or if where you use a steamed milk and you slide that card under it to increase the point value. You know,
it's just so satisfying.
like speaking of which, Laura just did. She just increased the point value of that drink right there. So now which I believe it's a latte. Is it the latte?
It might be the cortado. I think the latte has that skinnier neck
Yeah.
at the bottom. That's the only downside with this viewing angle. It's hard to see what's what.
Yeah, but either way, that's 4 points now at least. I mean,
So she better keep a tight eye on that one because I know
Oh,
if
yeah,
I were
'cause
them
see
with
if-
that spill drink card.
oh yes, ma'am, that is exactly what because that's what I did in our learn to play against Jacob. He slid that under one. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna just go ahead and need you to go ahead and get rid of that one
Off you go.
because now he's wasted essentially wasted his card, and then on top of that, he just lost overall 4 points.
And I'm curious, just your preference. I'll be honest, I have rarely played one-on-one. It's often been in this like 4-person setting. So my strategy, I honestly don't think I can pin it down. I jokingly say all the time it's a lot more chaotic. I prefer those bottom shenanigans that mess up other people a little more.
Yeah.
Just for me, I rarely win, but it's fun. So I was
Oh, yeah.
wondering if you had a particular preference. Do you like that
Well,
one-on-one like a chess game or more?
The one-on-one is really fun, but in a way, so like with the 4v4, it's so you never know what's coming next. On that 1v1, you can generally kind of figure out what your opponent's
It's easier
trying
to
to
count
do.
ahead, yeah.
And if like in the 1v1, like I said, if I just try to sandbag that's just my strategy. I try to get the spill drink cards, and now other than you're using like the one that lets you get 4 time on your siphon, or you get to draw a card and use double abilities. Unless you're getting those, or like one of the ones I actually do really like to pull is you dirty your Tampa Porter filter and get 2 espressos
Yes.
for 2 time versus just the one, because now it keeps my opponent from going, okay, well I remove your ingredient. Cool, I still got
Got one
one. I
standby.
can still, if nothing else, in an emergency, I can craft that drink and go ahead and have it crafted, or I can have it saved and use it to craft, one of the smaller drinks or whatever my steamed milk will afford me.
And that is one of my favorites. I've seen Annabelle in the bottom right. She must have gotten lucky. I've seen her play it at least 2 times in this round. So.
Yeah. Well, it's actually a really good card to play because it can help with that siphon build. I mean, especially if you play it out and one of your opponents has got, like I did in our learn to play, I played it against Virginia. She had the one of the lattes, I believe, right out of the gate. I mean, she got it quick. So I was like, cool, I drew the card. Now I've got 4 time on my siphon, and you can't touch it. There's nothing you can do about it. I can just sit there, and it's there for me for
Yeah.
good till the game's over.
And I wonder if folks not forget about it, like, but for example, in this last round, Ethan, who was in the bottom right corner, I didn't see him put anything on his siphon until like 1 or 2 rounds left. Ugh.
Well, Ethan likes to do, I've noticed, he likes to espresso train or express train it. He likes to try and get as many of those out as, because like you said, it's one of those of, it's really hard if you've got a bunch of those out, it's harder to get rid of them, and they're guaranteed 1 point versus, and you only have to use 1 time to technically make one, versus to get 1 point with the siphon, it takes 2 time. So it's all like I like the one that just gives me the 4 time for free. So I'm not really, I don't have to use any time other than to get the card, and then I get 4 on the siphon for free, essentially. And then another one I like to do really is I've used it a lot when I've played against Anthony, is use the other part of that, which is where you get 1 time and you draw a card. So it's like, cool, I'm going to use this, and now I can hope that I pull an even better card than just what I had.
And especially if it's a smaller group, you can count those cards. You're like, I already know what's coming.
Yeah, and it's like I said, you can generally kind of learn that person's strategy. Like me and Anthony now, when we play, we pretty much know what the other person's wanting to do. So those are really fun games because we know what we need to try and counter. Whereas when you're playing against 4 people, you have to try and learn.
You can't read 4 people's minds.
You have to
3 people's
figure out
minds.
what the other 3 people are wanting to do. And that, to me, just makes it so much more fun.
And that's what I've noticed, especially like you mentioned with Anthony, one-on-one, it's someone you know pretty well.
Yeah.
It can be pretty much equated to chess. Like
Yeah,
you're
I mean,
trying to, you think you can guess what they're going to do, but they also can do the same to you as well.
Because see, like I said, when I play against Anthony now, he knows what I'm looking for. So he's gotten to where he'll try to burn through the shenanigans cards to get those, prevents the spill of drinks before I do, because he knows that's part of my core strategy. Whereas then after we played Tuesday night, I think, and he did that. He pulled 2 of them, and I only pulled 1. And after that last shenanigans card went, I started having I had to change my strategy now and started trying to build siphon or whatever. But by that time, I'd gotten too far behind. And it's one of those of you have to adapt on the fly, but you have to make sure you don't overextend yourself, which is what I did. I wasted too much time trying to burn through the deck to get at least 1 more card, and he already had them. So I wasted a lot of time, whereas he didn't. He was building drinks and just crafting espressos.
And I do have a question for you, just changing gears really quickly, just being more professional in the biz, cardboard gaming, your store here. How do you think Brewing Shenanigans, so it's not out to the public yet, we're having our Kickstarter in February, how do you think it stands up to some of these other games on the market? Have you seen anything like it?
I've never seen another card game specifically like this one. It is very unique because the first time Anthony brought it to me, he was like, it's a coffee card game. And I was like, I don't really know how I feel about that. Like that just seems kind of
hip and trendy when you think about it.
It just seems like something not your normal person would play. Not the average person is going to sit down and go, I want to play a game about coffee.
I honestly picture someone looking up from like their D&D campaign and they're like, what are you bringing me? Like coffee, what?
Exactly. But then once he sat me down and was like, hey, look, just give it a shot. It is so much fun. And I think for just fun board game nights, even like this is just a really fun, casual tournament that's at the same time extremely competitive because everybody here is trying to they're trying as hard as they can, especially people like players like Ethan who just are very energetic. Ethan is a very energetic player, but I think it would be really great for like casual board game nights or card game nights, or just you can go home and be like, hey guys, let's just relax and play this game, and at the same time it's not so overly competitive that you're going to get angry at one another.
I agree, but also if you have like a friend like Ethan, you can pull it out and play to the death.
Yes,
and it can be equally entertaining.
Me and Ethan played one night, hour and a half.
I'm picturing tables flip.
Oh man, oh my goodness, it was such a great game, and we had so much fun doing it for a card game that's so simple. Because it seems really complicated from the outside, but once you sit down and you play a hand, it's so easy to learn. I mean, anyone can pick it up.
And that was the goal, I know, with the folks who created it, something that can be accessible, but not so simple that a seasoned gamer would be like, I don't want to spend time on this.
Yeah, because I've been playing card games for years. I mean, my first card game was Magic the Gathering. I mean, that's a very can be a very complicated card game. And I've been playing since I was like 8 years old because that's what my dad had at the house, and that's what we played together. So I've been playing card games and board games and D&D since I was a child. So for me, like I said, when I first saw it, I was just like, I don't really know about that. And then I played it, and I was like, oh, this is actually very simple, yet complicated. But it's not complicated.
And it's nice to hear that even after being so seasoned and so familiar with this world of card gaming, that something can come and surprise you and be refreshing.
It really was, because it's such a unique take on a card game to be about coffee. I mean, and the cards are beautiful. The artwork is amazing. The play mats are like that artwork for that play mat. I love it. It's so good.
And if you've just tuned in, you're actually looking at the prize for the winner of the cardboard gaming tournament, which is that custom art playmat.
It's such a good artwork.
And on top of, like we talked about the games, how it works, how it can be easy, how it can be a bit more challenging, there's actually this whole like backstory lore to the game as well that the creator made. I actually have here, we've actually made characters and a backstory. Are you familiar with the story of what Brewing Shenanigans is? Well, if you have time and if anyone wants to listen, basically this traveler, Edward Abbing, is writing to his daughter and visits Cafe Glaum, which hosts this annual Brewing Shenanigans tournament in the story. And in the story, whoever can cause their other baristas to lose drinks, lose points, they actually win Cafe Glaum. And they have the bean lean, kind of like the lean to the cafe, bean lean. Funny name. So I know other games that are coming out. Yeah, here. Other games coming out with the studio all kind of have this interconnecting backstory and lore and reoccurring characters.
That's cool.
It's a whole other dimension. The game's delightful if you don't know it, but it just adds that extra level if you do. For example, Colossus Clash, which is a different game that's in the works, has Edward Abbing reoccurring character as a part of that.
See, I haven't got to play that one yet. I haven't had a chance, but I know Jacob, who's actually playing there in the top left, really, really enjoys that game.
And there's just so much going on that you might not even get at a surface, but at the same time, even if you don't know it, it's still a fun game all on its own.
Yeah.
So if anyone does have questions, we can definitely get the creator back here to go more in detail with that lore. And DJ, really appreciate you coming on.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was good talking to you.
We will be in this little corner. You know where to find me. If you ever see something crazy or have any other insights, we will be here.
I definitely appreciate you letting me come in and
DJ.
take up some of your time.
Catch you later.